What's up, guys? Welcome to the first installment of Tom Makes a Beat out of something. And that something for this video is the University of Memphis. That's right, I made a beat out of the University of Memphis. I walked around using my Voice Memos app and this microphone here, and I basically just recorded samples. I wanted to make a video that challenged how I use samples. I've been using samples in my beats since I started. I mean, it's the meta now to use samples. You get drums, synths, whatever. If you go to r/drumkits right now, you can make an entire beats even, out of one drum pack. One. And I was like, you know what? Let's use no drum packs. Yeah, you heard me. I used no samples, no synths, guitars, any melodic instrument that I played directly into my DAW, my digital audio workspace. I basically just found noise.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
This video basically is going to be a breakdown of each section. I have the drums, I have the melody, and I have a bass line. And then I also have just texture in the beats, because if it's a found noise beat, it's gotta have texture. That's the whole point. And very briefly, I wanted to go over what beat I was trying to make. And I really didn't know. I knew I was gonna do a found noise beat, but I didn't really know if I was gonna go for a more lo-fi, jazzy type beat, something that I'm comfortable with, or if I was gonna go out of my comfort zone. And I actually kind of did a combination of both. The beat is definitely something. I think it's good. I think it turned out better than I expected. It's definitely better the second time around, because I made it the first time. Oh, yeah, that was not good. But you'll never hear that. You'll never ever hear that. So I'm using Ableton Live 11, and as you can see here, I've organized all of the tracks based on color. And I think this helps a lot in just naming your tracks. I think doing little steps like this are a great way to optimize your beat making and just to get ideas out faster, really. It's pretty intuitive, but yeah, let's get into each individual track. So each individual sample is taken from U of M. So the main melody is the horn section, and as you can see here, I chopped it up in simpler. I loaded it by 12 semitones. The individual effects I used this de-esser, which basically just gets rid of the noise. And it's also a compression. And this plugin has been my lifeblood recently. It's called Fresh Air. And basically what it does is it just adds a brightness to it. And it gives a lot of your samples more life, because usually when you sample, you lose a lot of quality. Depends on how you sample. If you're doing vinyl rips, usually you get a higher quality sample just because you're directly importing it and recording it into your DAW. Because I'm using audio recording rips, I'm getting a lot of that natural sound, and so I kind of wanted to accent that in the sample. This is another plugin I use, and I use it a lot really, Magic Dice. And it's randomized effects, and it's usually like a phaser, reverse reverb, or delay. And this sample, I kind of use it as like a main delay, if you would. And then this is just an EQ. And I took out a lot of the low end to make room for the bass and drums. And then this one just adds a little bit more glitchiness. This right here is just simply the regular delay, the Baby Come Back. It's a little vintage delay machine. I use it a lot. So yeah, I mean, that's it on the main sample. And then this is the secondary sample I use. Just add a little bit of texture to it. If you're wondering what the C plus S is, it stands for Chopped and Screwed, which is a style that was popularized by DJ Screw from Houston. And it's basically just you take a sample and you absolutely fuck with it. Just drench it in effects, you reverse it, you do a bunch of crazy stuff. Those are the main little samples. Let's get into the drums, I guess. So the drums, I use the library for the kick drums. I got the Kick 2 here from just literally banging on my desk in the library. The other kick was from the library elevator. There's a thing called transients, which it literally is just sound. That's what I understand it to be. If you add transients to kick drums, 808s, or basses, it adds a little bit more attack and presence, and added them. The hi-hat I got from the metal chairs outside of the theater building, and I just was literally flicking those with while recording it. The hi-hats were pretty easy, but essentially what I did was I just pitched the absolute living daylights out of the little metal chair, and I added the little baby comeback delay, added that little extra emphasis I needed, and all I did was just pitch it up by 48 semitones. The snares, I pitched those down, and all I did was added compressor, and then I added this, I added the fresh air, and then I added some reverb, just to make it all mesh. So this is the bass. So as you can see here, I added a lot of the same shit. It's really just the horn section, but I just tuned it down even more, and I added a lot more bass to it, but it's kind of lower in the mix because the kick drum is already doing a lot of that heavy lifting with the boominess, so I wanted to make the low end just a little quieter. I mean, there's not a lot to the bass. Let's get into some of the effects and ambience. This is kind of the meat and potatoes of the beat, just because of the reason why I made this. The can, I basically kept a lot of the same effects, but this time I added this Alien Landscape plugin. It's kind of like a delay and like pitch bending thing, and I thought that was really cool. So I did the same thing, but with a different can sample, and I pitched it up just to add a little pizzazz. Third can sample. That's just really to get the track started, essentially. The library door sample, it's kind of like automating up. I mean, a lot of these effects are the same because it just sounds better to my ears when all the effects have cohesion and they have purpose. This one, I really went crazy with the Magic Dice. The effed up Zoom audio is actually a funny story, because I got that from a Zoom meeting from one of my final projects. I didn't have Zoom downloaded, so I joined via browser. The internet was so bad. I thought that was perfect. So what I did, all the same effects, but I added a delay, and this glitch sound effect adds like a little bit crush and delay. Then the crosswalk ambience, but I added 2 on there. I panned them left and right, mainly just because when you have a bunch of tracks like most of my beats do, if you hard pan them left to right, it just gives it a lot more of a fuller sound, I guess. I also added this library door thing. It's just what it is. It's the library door. But yeah, I added that, and I didn't add effects to that or the crosswalk just because I thought that adding effects would drown it, and I kind of wanted to ground my beat in some sort of reality. More library doors. This time I added some reverb to it and some fresh air. This one I added just the same concert hall reverb. And then can, I added the full loop of me playing with the Monster Energy can I was talking about. And I added some space syncopation, which basically just puts it in a LFO. I do not know what an LFO is, but all I know is that it's basically a wave shape. Yeah, that's one of the can ambiences. And I just added another layer to it. This time I pitched it down instead of this one. But yeah, that's basically it on that front. And then at the very end of the track, there's a little playground. So yeah, for the playground, I added that in there just for an outro of sorts, because I think putting clips or samples into the intro or outro puts the song in more of a song format, which is what I personally like. For like my tag, I guess, I got my friend Devin, shout out to Devin, just to say my producer name, but I just pitched him up and added more of the same effects and then a delay on top of that. That's all of it. A lot of the technical aspects, I just don't know enough about to even be confident to put them in this video, but I'm going to put the links to all my plugins in the description, just in case you want to check it out. Yeah, that's basically it.